I live with my husband and had a good relationship with him and his parents, my parents-in-law. However, one day, my parents-in-law became cold toward me, apparently believing that our marriage was deteriorating because of me. When I talked to my husband about it, he insisted that I was mistaken and did not want to touch the subject, and he seemed to be hiding something. So I checked my husband's activities and found evidence of an affair. I made a plan to tell my in-laws about his lies and to find out why their attitudes had suddenly turned cold. I planned to take my husband to my parents-in-law's house to tell them that I was pregnant. But when we arrived at my in-laws' house, they showed up angry and said, "You too. Get a divorce right now." What? I was stunned for a moment, but then the conversation took an unexpected turn, and my husband's evil deeds came to light one after another. My name is Elise, a 30-year-old housewife with a part-time job. My husband Neville is 4 years older than me, and we got married 2 years ago. We met while working for the same company, but when my husband was transferred last year, I resigned from my job to follow him. Just after the transfer, I planned to support my husband as a full-time housewife, but my husband, on the other hand, was busy with work after the transfer and had to work on holidays more and more, so the time we spent together gradually decreased. I wondered why I had resigned from my job, and I began to feel that I had too much time on my own, so I asked my husband if I could find a new job. Then, my husband said to me, there was a part-time job opening at one of our affiliated companies. They're doing some interior work and repairs on a building. How about it? I'd like to work there. I can spare some time for a part-time job. Thus, I started working part-time at the company my husband recommended. One day, my in-laws contacted me and asked me how we were doing. My parents-in-law's place was close enough for us to visit if we needed anything, but my husband was too busy with his work to visit them. Neville is too busy, so I'm sorry we can't visit. You should at least show up on your days off. Neville has been working a lot of holidays lately, and he's on a business trip again this weekend. I see. It's okay, a phone call will be enough. My MIL was kind enough to say so, and my FIL had a friendly disposition, so I had a good relationship with my in-laws. A few days later, while my husband was on a business trip, I received another call from my parents-in-law, but my MIL's tone was somewhat serious. Elise, are things really going well with you and Neville? What? There's no particular problem, but is something wrong? It's fine then, but I'm a little worried. Is there something on your mind? I'm sure Neville is very busy and is not at home very often, but we haven't had any fights either. I understand. By the way, Elise, where have you been today? Today? I was at my part-time job. Work. Okay, good night. With that, my MIL hung up the phone, and I wondered how she could suddenly be so concerned about our marital relationship. The next day, I received a call from my FIL. My FIL said in a tone that showed he was quite angry even over the phone. Elise. Are you really taking good care of Neville? Taking care of Neville. He is coming home today from a business trip. Is there anything wrong? I'm asking you if you are doing your duty as a wife. What on earth is going on? Duty as a wife. Yesterday, my MIL said something like that to me. You are unaware of it. I can see why Neville is disgusted with you. With these words, my FIL hung up the phone. I was surprised by his words and was stunned for a while. Why should my husband be so disgusted with me? When my husband returned from his business trip that night, I told him about the phone call from my parents-in-law. I asked my husband if he had any idea why they were accusing me of something I didn't remember. "Hey, your parents both seem to be upset with me. Do you have any idea what's going on?" "No, I don't have any idea." "What did they say?" "They seem to think we're having a bad marriage, so I think I should go talk to them." "No, no. It's your misunderstanding anyway, so don't do anything to make it worse." I was startled when my husband suddenly started yelling at me with a stern expression on his face. Well, I guess I'm imagining things. I looked at my husband, who seemed relieved to hear my answer, and smiled. My husband and in-laws are hiding something from me. And it must be something related to our marriage, a situation in which I was at fault. I thought my husband was suspicious, so I decided to find out the facts somehow. One day a while later, my husband left for work on his day off. After I sent him off with a nonchalant look on my face, I took out my phone. The map on the phone showed the location of my husband's car. As I looked at it, I muttered to myself, "Pet collars are amazing. With this, I can find my dog even if it gets lost." Yes, I had left a pet GPS collar in the trunk of my husband's car, which I had purchased at a DIY store. It was easy to operate and reasonably priced, so I had it ready for my husband to check on his movements. His car stayed there for a while once he left for work, but within an hour it started moving. As I watched in amazement at how quickly he had finished his work, I noticed that it now moved in the opposite direction from home and stopped at a certain building. I checked the address and decided to call a cab to go there. It was downtown, and I could see from the location sign that my husband's car was parked in a hotel. After all, my husband had cheated on me under the guise of working on his day off. Tears of frustration and pity welled up in my eyes, but I decided that as I had come this far, I would see what kind of woman he was dealing with. Soon after, a man and a woman appeared from the hotel reception desk, holding hands. It was my husband and a woman I recognized. They walked past me, hiding behind a plantation, and I caught a glimpse of them kissing as they got into his car in a deserted parking lot. I went blank with shock, but managed to take pictures of the whole scene with my phone camera. The woman with whom my husband was having an affair was a junior employee at his former company. The woman was an unpleasant person for me because she was always approaching my husband after he married me and trying to one-up me with her youth. My husband seemed to be quite pleased with her at the time, and we had a fight about it once. I was relieved to forget about it because I was able to move away from her after he was transferred, but the fact that she was in this kind of relationship suggests that she had not given up on the idea of plundering my husband. I was deeply disappointed that my husband had fallen for this temptation and walked away. I had proof of the affair, but what I didn't understand was the attitude of my in-laws on the phone that day. It sounded as if I was doing something wrong and causing trouble for my husband. I thought the best way to find out why was to talk to them directly, but my husband, who would be in a bad position, would refuse to discuss it, so I wondered how I could get him to sit down with me to discuss it. After thinking about it for a while, I came up with a plan that would surely get my husband to go with me to my in-laws' house. At sunset, I said to my husband when he came home, "Hey, I'm sorry to rush you, but would you mind going with me to your parents' house?" "Huh? I just got home." I think I'm pregnant. So let's go to your parents' house together to report it. What? Pregnant? Ugh, you're kidding. Come on, let's go. Strike while the iron is hot. Wait. This forced my husband to accompany me, so I decided to go over to my parents-in-law's house to report the pregnancy and see what kind of lies he was telling. My husband had called my in-laws to visit them on the road, but when we arrived, my in-laws showed up with anger. Then my FAL started yelling at me. You're pregnant. You've done a terrible thing. Oh my God. There's nothing you can do to get it back. You two need to get a divorce right now. What? This was an odd reaction to hearing their Dale's pregnancy report. I was dumbfounded and looked at my furious in-laws. My husband quietly told my in-laws. Oh, it's not like that. Calm down a little. How can you calm down? She's such a bitch to get pregnant with her affair partner's child. Cheating? Me? No, I didn't. To my surprise, my MIL showed me a picture on her phone. Here's the proof. I saw it on the day you said you were working. I took the picture and sent it to Neville, and he told me he knew about your affair for a long time and that he was suffering. You really are a slut and a liar. The picture on the phone was of me and the man going into Hotel A together. I had indeed gone to Hotel A for work that day, so it became clear to me that my MIL had misunderstood and called to accuse me. Yes. Get the hell out of this slutty woman. Neville has a woman he likes anyway, so get rid of this unfaithful wife. Wow. Dad, shut up for a second. My husband interrupted, but the angry in-laws kept saying more. You don't have to be silent anymore. Neville was planning to hold out for a while and get a divorce later, because a divorce so soon after his transfer would affect his career. Besides, Neville already has another woman he loves, so divorce won't bother him at all. That's right. Since you work for Neville's affiliate, he asked me to keep your affair under wraps for public relations reasons. But now I can't forgive you for getting pregnant with your affair partner's child. You should get a divorce right away. As I listened to the conversation between my husband and my in-laws, I began to understand most of the situation. Probably, my MIL, who had seen me in Hotel A with a man, assumed that I was having an affair and reported it to my husband, who was also having an affair himself, thinking that it would be a good reason to convince my parents-in-law when he divorced me in the future. However, I guess he asked my in-laws to keep quiet about it to buy time until he could come up with a reason to divorce me, because I would be suspicious if he tried to divorce me right now. The fact that my in-laws contacted me before to accuse me of cheating on him was also because they couldn't get rid of their grievances even though they would keep quiet, which is why they said it that way. And my in-laws, who thought I was cheating on him, were furious because they thought the pregnancy report was a child with the cheating partner. I glared at my husband beside me and said, "Hey, Neville. Was I supposed to be having an affair?" No, this is a bit of a misstatement, isn't it? I wonder if those pictures your mother sent you are the scene of my affair." My in-laws wondered at my husband's brusque way of speaking, and began to listen to my story in silence. I continued to tell my husband. That picture was taken when I went in to quote for the interior work of Hotel A. The person in the picture with me is an employee of an affiliated company. The person with me is also an employee of an affiliated company, and I sent the estimate that day to that company. Oh, did I mention that? Then I turned to my FIL and asked. Phil. I see that Neville has a woman he likes. How did you know? Well, I saw him last week. I saw Neville with her. But he said it was Elise who cheated on him first. I pulled out my phone and showed him the picture I had taken during the day of my husband and the woman he was cheating on me with. You mean this woman? Oh, yes. This is the woman. But Neville said he was dating her because Elise cheated on him. My husband had been seen cheating on his wife by his father, but he was using my cheating as an excuse again. I was stunned at how self-centered a person he was. My husband looked at the pictures on my phone and turned pale, as if he knew what he was doing. I said to him, "This is your junior colleague from your last company, isn't it?" "No, this is, well." My in-laws, who had been watching the exchange between my husband and me, finally realized their mistake. "Elise, you weren't having an affair, were you?" "Perhaps, would you have been the only one having an affair?" The in-laws seemed to have realized everything by the way my husband hung his head and fell silent, and now they began to bow their heads toward me. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. I am so sorry." Then my husband interrupted. "There are circumstances to this. I'm sure you'll understand if we talk, and besides, we have a child to take care of, so you need to be cool about this, too." I am calm. "So listen to me. I am divorcing you." "Divorce is a big deal." "What about the child?" My husband, perhaps remembering my pregnancy, suddenly began to show a relaxed attitude. My parents-in-law also said, "Yes, don't be hasty. Are you going to take the father away from the child? How are you going to raise a child with only one woman?" Hearing this, I apparently assumed that this family would not do anything drastic because I was pregnant and would allow my husband to cheat on me. I decided to tell the truth here. "Oh, about that, the pregnancy is a lie." "Huh? Huh? Did you cheat me? Which one of us deceived?" "Even if I was really pregnant, I would have no choice but to divorce you. Of course I'll charge you alimony for the affair, and I'll make the cheater pay for it. You'd better brace yourself." With that, I got up and left my husband at my in-laws' house, unable to say anything back. Upon returning home, I removed my belongings from the home. Since it had been less than a year since we had been transferred and the company housing was furnished with furniture and appliances, I only needed 2 trunks and a small amount of luggage. I decided to stay at a hotel for a while and negotiate a divorce while continuing to work. I let my husband choose between an amicable divorce and an arbitrated divorce, and the amicable one was granted, as he was indeed embarrassed to have his infidelity exposed in arbitration. The ex-husband was charged $32,000 in alimony for the affair, which he paid in a lump sum. As for the woman with whom he had an affair, I sent a content-certified letter to her company, demanding $18,000 in alimony. I decided to claim it in a lump sum because I thought it would be good for the future to remind her plenty of what would happen if she messed with a married man. My former colleagues told me that my ex-husband had lost credibility at work and was off the career track, and the woman with whom he had an affair resigned voluntarily because she was cast cold shoulder at work. I was then introduced to another branch of the company where I worked part-time and was able to go to work full-time. I am now single again and starting my life over again, but strangely enough, I am not anxious and full of motivation. I was surprised at how comfortable I am now, free of all the stresses I had felt in my marriage. I am determined to shake off the past and move forward on my own life path.